NBA regular season is complete. Let's get you ready for the playoffs. Here's what we know. The Bucks are the 3 seed in the East. They will take on the Bulls in round 1. Milwaukee looking to be the first Eastern Conference team to win back-to-back titles since LeBron's Heat did it in 2012 and 13. Then there's Boston. The Celtics are the 2 seed, something that felt unlikely a few months ago. They finished the season with 51 wins, best record by a team below 500 at the halfway point, and they will await the winner of the Nets and the Cavs in the play-in tomorrow night. Despite being in the play-in tournament, Brooklyn actually has the 3rd shortest odds to win the championship. The Hawks will host the Hornets in the 9-10 play-in game. The winner of that will face the Nets-Cavs loser for the right to face the top seed Heat in round 1. The other finalized playoff pairing in the East is the 4-5 matchup between the Sixers and the Raptors, where Philly will have home court advantage. But that will be nothing compared to the advantage that Toronto will have when the Raptors are home. Let's make it clear. Matisse Thybulle, who's an incredibly important piece of the Sixers puzzle, is not going to be eligible to play in the games in Canada. He's not fully vaccinated. He will not be allowed into the country. So with that thought in mind, Legler, how do you see that series?
Oh, my goodness. Well, you know, I've been in that area, tied to that area for 38 years, Greeny.
To Philly.
Yeah, so it helps me to not pick against the Sixers because it's just life is better when you go out in public, when you do that kind of thing. But look, I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt that they can win the series in 7 games. But I have probably least amount of confidence in that pick than any in the first round. I think they're in trouble. I think there is an enormous amount of pressure on James Harden, and he has never faced the type of scrutiny and media and fan backlash that he will face if he does not play well early in that series against Toronto. Philadelphia is a completely different animal than anything James Harden has dealt with. And he right now is coming in, I think his last 8 games, he's shooting like 35% from the field. He just doesn't look like the same explosive, dominant scorer. And it's great that he can make plays, and he had a 15-assist game, and that's great. That's not what they need out of James Harden. He's a primary ball handler who's going to determine matters in that series. Look, I know Embiid, what he's going to do. Pencil it in. That guy's going to average 30 and probably 14 in that series. Book it. So where is that going to come from in the important moments? James Harden cannot be like this. He's got to be consistently 20 to 25 points a game in that series. And I just don't see him right now physically as being able to do it. And the only reason I'm not going to say the Raptors are going to win the series, because, look, they are a 5 seed. I mean, let's be honest of who they are. This is not some juggernaut. They play Philly tough. This has the makings of the best first-round series of all. Wouldn't be shocked if Toronto won, but I'll pick Philly in 7 games.
All right, we'll see. Again, the 7 is a critical number there because that would mean there were 3 of them in Canada, and Thybulle would not be eligible to play any of those. So that's the most interesting storyline in the East. Let me show you where the West wound up here. And again, we still have the play-ins to work our way through, but the 2 finalized playoff matchups we have, Warriors-Nuggets, Mavericks-Jazz. The Grizzlies will face the winner of Timberwolves-Clippers, which is the 7-8 game on Tuesday night. The loser of that play-in would face either the Pelicans or the Spurs for the right to face Phoenix. And so let me put it to you this way. Look, the Suns have been the best team in the NBA. Of that, there is no debate. I've got a lot of my countdown crew telling me they think Memphis is the biggest threat to Phoenix in the West. If Steph comes back healthy, they've got Draymond back, if the Warriors are complete, who in your mind is the biggest threat? Let me phrase, what are the Warriors with those guys all together?
If Steph Curry comes back and he looks like Steph Curry and he doesn't go through that normal adjustment period where he's not making shots, he's a little bit rusty and he's very inefficient, if that's the case, it clearly is Memphis. But if Steph Curry comes back and he looks like Steph Curry, he looks anything like Steph Curry looked at the beginning of this season, I think Golden State is the biggest threat to Phoenix, but we just don't know that until we see him. And I'm not trying to slight Memphis at all. That's just how much I believe in the value of Steph Curry and the fact that the Golden State Warriors are much more about the collective of the sum of their parts than they are about anything individually. They need all of those guys to be out there functioning at a high level the way that they play, and they haven't been on the court at all together. They're 3-star players.
And that's why it's so critical, with no disrespect to any of the other teams that are involved, that they did hang on to that 3. Because it means they wouldn't get Phoenix until the conference final, so they have time to work their way back into it. Look, there was a moment in time this season, like as recently as Christmas, where the Warriors were the best team in the NBA, when they were all healthy and they were all firing. So let me change up the question slightly. If we see them get healthy and sort of get themselves on a little bit of a roll here, Could you make an argument they're actually the team to beat in that Western Conference?
You definitely could make the argument because of their personnel and their pedigree and what they've done in the postseason before. But I don't think that would be fair to Phoenix. What I've seen this year is Phoenix is on a completely different shelf than every other team in the NBA. And they also, in addition to the fact that they've been the best team on both ends of the floor, this is also a team that has unfinished business mentality. And that was their approach all season long. And we saw the Milwaukee Bucks have to struggle a couple of times before they finally got that thing across the finish line. Phoenix had to stand there and watch that celebration last year. They've approached the regular season like that all year. Nobody has better role definition than the Phoenix Suns. Those guys stay in their lane, and they do it every night. They've been so much better than everybody else in the league start to finish.
Yeah.
I almost feel like it's really unfair to not think they are the prohibitive favorite.
I think that's right. Let me ask you one more quick thing. This is my first year as a voter. Our ballots are due tonight. Who's the MVP of the league?
I'm going with Joel Embiid. I don't think he did enough to lose that award. He had it in his hands, and you got to remember, they went 2/3 of a year losing an all-star caliber player, didn't replace him with anything. His next two best players were a 22-year-old point guard starting for the first time, and Tobias Harris, who's been very up and down throughout his time in Philadelphia. And Joel Embiid has been so dominant night in, night out. I thought he got control of the award sometime around January, February. For a 5-6 week stretch, he was the best player in the league. So at that point, Greedy, what has to happen to lose it? I think either your team has to fall off the map, they didn't. Your production has to fall off the map, it didn't. Or you have to get hurt. None of those things happened. I know what Jokic did, and I understand Giannis and even Luka, I think, closed the gap. But I just don't think Joel Embiid did anything to lose the award once he became the favorite.
And he led the league in scoring. Look, it is as close as could be. I think they're the three really viable candidates, Jokic and Embiid, I think, at the top. Thank you for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.